I want to talk about COVID because it's also a big week. Every week seems to be when it comes to COVID. Couple of headlines to run by you. Number one, Pfizer has submitted the data regarding its vaccine being allegedly safe and having a robust response in 5 to 11-year-olds. And I understand living in New York. Now I'm in Connecticut, but I was living in New York for 17 years. There are a lot of people who are like, I want it for my kid. I want it. I want it. You want it for your kid? I get it. Okay, fine. I'm okay if Pfizer says and the FDA says 5 to 11-year-olds can have it. What makes me nervous about this is because if the FDA gives them, it would just be emergency use authorization. It wouldn't be the full Megillah yet. They're going to mandate it. That's what's going to come next. They're going to mandate it. And the next thing you know, I've now got my oldest son just had his birthday. So I have an 8, 10, and 12-year-old. We already just got the email from the school about my 12-year-old. And my 8 and 10-year-old are going to be forced to get this damn jab once they make it permanent after emergency use. And I feel like my choice is going to be taken away, and I don't want that.
Yeah. I think that's the key point there is choice. I chose to get the vaccine early on, back in whatever it was, March or April. That was my choice. Anytime you have the government trying to exercise their mandate and force people to do something, force people to get this vaccine, you take away people's individual right to choose, and you also kind of spur a reaction from people saying, hold on a second, you're not even allowing me the possibility of examining information, doing my own research and making the decision that's best for me and for my family. And oh, by the way, you're going to tell me that if I don't do what you're telling me to do, that I'm going to lose my job or that I can't go out to eat with my family, that I can't, go into certain places, that I can't get on a plane and fly somewhere.
That my kid can't go to school.
Can't go to school. This is, all of these rules and things that they're putting out are a means for government control. And where does it end? Where does it end? And so again, for me, my personal choice, I got the vaccine. I'm glad I got it. Other people, for whether it's religious reasons or personal reasons, or because they've had COVID and their antibodies are so strong that they don't feel that they need to get the vaccine, medical reasons. I mean, there's so many different situations that individuals will take into account. That they need to be able to make their own personal choice, and they should not be put on lists essentially to dictate what they can do and where they can go. That it's just set such a dangerous precedent.
It's so crazy where, today, for example, New York City has set this Friday as its vaccine deadline for all school staffers. So they say there's roughly 7,000 teachers who are about to be fired, roughly 17,000 Department of Education staffers overall. These are, janitors and so on. These are not rich people who are going to lose their job. By the way, no unemployment insurance. Our governor has said you don't get you get fired and you get no unemployment insurance. These people have already been through hell these past couple of years thanks to COVID. And it doesn't matter if they have natural immunity. Meanwhile, I look at what just came out of the news in Italy. Italy's pushing vaccine passports, for lack of a better term, right? If you want to be in Italy, if you want to work in Italy, you got to have had the vaccine unless you can show that you've got the antibodies from natural immunity. They recognize that's another way of protecting oneself. And it's the only benefit of having gotten COVID. Then you look at the UK. They say, we don't feel comfortable giving the vaccine to 12 to 15-year-olds. We're not there yet. As 16 and up, we recommend one jab because all the complications come after the second jab. You take either of those positions here in America, you're an anti-science freak who wants to kill people.
Yeah, and that there's two things I want to say on this. Number one is exactly that how everything surrounding COVID has become politicized. Where, hey, if I want to go out, or if I say I want to wear a mask, or if I'm going to get the vaccine, then obviously I'm a Democrat, right? Or if you don't want to get the vaccine, or if you don't want to wear a mask, then you're Republican. And both sides are attacking each other because these are the characterizations that are being put out there. And there's no understanding really between the two. You're either for or against. You're this or you're that. And these two sides are pitted against each other. So politicizing this, I think, is from the very beginning been a big problem. The lies that we've been told from the very, very beginning about COVID have furthered kind of the distrust that people have from the very beginning, with Fauci saying, well, masks don't work. Masks don't work. Meanwhile, his real motive was, hey, we've got to save these N95 medical grade masks for our healthcare workers because they need it for protection, because they work.
Yeah, the so-called noble lie.
Exactly. The hypocrisy and the lies and the recent thing. Well, hey, big tech and some in our government, they don't want us talking about natural immunity. Why? Why aren't they looking at the studies from Israel? Why aren't they doing studies themselves to recognize, hey, these antibodies that come from those who have had COVID, natural immunity is a scientific effect. Right. It's not some made up thing. We should talk about it. We should examine it. We should study it. And so you look at how they wonder, why are people so distrustful of things that are coming out of our government? It's because of the lies and the misinformation, the disinformation that they themselves are propagating. The stuff around the monoclonal antibodies, Regeneron, the things that, we see DeSantis doing in Florida, the federal government and the Biden-Harris administration criticizing, rather than recognizing, hey, this is a scientific treatment that, if administered very early on in one's infection, can prevent serious implications and hospitalization. Mm-hmm. A fact. Why is it? And then now that they've seen how it's been successful in places like Florida, now the federal government, the administration said, okay, well, now we want to make sure that everybody has access to Regeneron, which really leads to the point here about how we need to make sure that the American people are getting facts, that they're able to make the best decision for themselves, and that they have the freedom to do so.